Peace, brothers and sisters in humanity. I hope you're all well. I'm on the roll, aren't I? Wow. I have a bit of time, um, so I thought, why not? And I promised part 3 of Sujood, and I will get to it when I have the time. But today I'll make it a little bit special today. I'm going to sincerely address my Sunni brothers, right? I used to be a Sunni myself, so I think everyone, not everyone, but 93% of people I know, they're all Sunnis. So I can't escape, even if I try. So I know there's most of them have a good heart, really, you know what I mean, really good heart, because I lived among you, so, and I grew up with you. So I'm not here to say, you mushriks, you whatever, I'm calling you names, or no, I have no authority to call you anything. The Quran does not allow me to say who goes to hell, who goes to heaven, who is a hypocrite, who is, I don't know, whatever you are. The Quran does not give me permission to attack you or say anything. But the Quran gives me permission to give you verses, ayat, not verses, ayat from the Quran, proofs from the Quran, to show you a couple of things you might not know. Let's give you an example. Just give me your time, all right? Just give me your time. Don't worry about the way I speak. Don't worry about anything. Just give me a bit of your time. And on your head, and your head as well. I need your brain. I need you to think. Okay? That's all. A little bit. I'm going to do a video about this guy here. Muslims have no answer. Okay? Him. So we do not have an answer to that.
You say we have abrogation. Okay. Well, no, we don't have Islamic abrogation. When we talk about abrogation in the Bible, we're talking about a covenant that God made with Israel 1,500 years before Jesus comes. 1,500 years later, because of Israel's failure to honor God and being thrown out of the land, and now under the rule of foreigners, God in His mercy responds to their circumstances 1,500 years later and gives them a new covenant, a covenant that takes their circumstances into consideration. So it's not abrogation in the sense that you understand. It's 1,500 years from Moses.
So all he said is that their abrogation is from one prophet to another. Okay? Yeah? That's what he says, yeah? Nasakh is changed from Moses to Jesus, yeah? Okay.
Jesus, where Israel is no longer in the land, they're scattered out of the land, then they're brought back into the land and have foreigners now ruling them, which means they cannot apply the covenant of Moses as it was given because of their circumstances. So God in His mercy.
Well, how come your God can't give them the power to?
Because that's His punishment, and that's what your Quran says in chapter 17. If you read it all the way to 9, it says that because they failed to honor the covenant, Allah brought nations to punish them and beat them entering into their home. So how come your God Allah couldn't give them the power? Yeah, I thought so. But now let me show you why it's not the same thing as your abrogation.
Let me ask you a question. Was there any abrogation in your Bible between Abraham and Moses and between any of the? Let's forget about Jesus.
How can it be an abrogation when Abraham is not a community who lives in the land and he's supposed to rule the land when he's a stranger in the land? What abrogation? He's a unique person living in a unique circumstance where the land is not his. It's occupied by the Canaanites. So whatever rules God gives him, it's for his needs to meet him where he's at. Whereas now at the time of Moses, it's an entire nation commanded to rule and own the land that Abraham was living as a stranger. How's that abrogation? But now I'm going to show you the problem with your abrogation.
It's minor rules here.
No. Actually, it's because Muhammad would change his mind the next day. What kind of abrogation is this when you say A on Monday, but then you say no, it's B on Tuesday? And that's why they mocked your prophet. Go to chapter 16, verse 101 of the Quran. Give me 2 minutes to read the difference where even the unbelievers started mocking your prophet. When we change a verse of the Quran, I cancel.
He used the word mocking, yeah? And he used the word, he changed his mind from Monday to Tuesday.
In place of another, and Allah knows the best of what He sends down. They, the disbelievers, say, "You, Muhammad, are but a muftari, a forger, a liar."
It's not a forger. A muftari, it doesn't mean a forger or a liar.
Most of them know not. Now let me show you the
It means
commentators.
you made it
Why
up.
did the unbelievers?
It means made it up. Made up. They're saying to him, you made it up.
Prophet is a liar. Asbab al-Nuzul by Al-Wahdi. Jalalain, Ibn Abbas, they all record the complaint of the unbelievers, but this one tells you why specifically they complain. Here, let me send you a link. And when we put a revelation in place of another revelation, this verse was revealed, watch, when the idolater said Muhammad is mocking his companions. Why? One day he commands them to do something, and the next day he forbids them from doing it. What kind of logic is this? That within 24 hours I change my mind and change the ruling with a ruling that's different and contradictory. Within 24 hours? So can you explain to me the logic in canceling out, abrogating a ruling within 24 hours? What happened?
Okay, let's stop here, yeah? So this guy, he thinks he's smart and intellectual, yeah? But what he's doing is using history to put ideas into the Quran. Are you listening, brothers, yeah? So he's using history, which is your books, yeah? To come up with this understanding. So this guy hasn't created anything. He just does some research, read some books, and he took that for a fact. Like it's actually fact, like science fact, like proofs, right? You can't deny it. So history is all correct. History was never written by tyrants, by liars, by... Listen, and he's using that against you. That's exactly what he's doing.
24 hours for the circumstances to change so drastically in 24 hours to demand a new ruling.
Is that 16101?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have any answers.
Now go to chapter 2 of the Quran, verse 106.
That's it. I have no answers. That's it, exactly. We'll come down to this. I have no answers. How can you have no answers? How can you have no answers? You have a book from God. You have the Quran. How can you have no answers? That's because you really don't know what's in your Quran. You really don't. You really have no idea. You just inherited a belief and you just walk in the way it's been basically placed for you. You just follow it blindly. But let's answer this guy. He said his obligation from Moses to Jesus, yeah, changed. Some things changed. Let's prove the Quran proves the same point. Although we believe the Quran is the word of God, and they don't believe the Bible is a word of God. So it's for us to prove it from the Quran, as we know it is fully detailed and it will answer every question you have. But before that, I have to tell you, Sunnis, unfortunately, there isn't in the Quran. The Quran doesn't give authority to anyone to mess with it. Doesn't belong to us. It's not ours. So we can't mess with it. We can't abrogate anything from it. We have no authority, no matter who. And the Quran will prove it. And there is no hadith talking about a prophet abrogated proofs from the Quran or verses, whichever you want to call them. But I like to call them proofs, not verses. So, and this science of an-nasikh wal-mansukh came from one person. His name is Shafi'i. So this Shafi'i He's the first one who come up with that. Nasikh wal mansukh. Who hasn't lived with a prophet, hasn't seen a prophet, or anything like this. So, what the Shafi'i said, we can actually just wipe off verses from the Quran, as many as we can, as many as we want, with other verses from the Quran. So the Quran abrogate itself. Okay, but you have to have authority. And when they say ijma', the nasikh wal mansukh, there's no ijma'. Few of these people, I think about 6 of them, decided to abrogate the Quran how they like. And they do not agree with each other. One says over 100, the other one 80, and some 60, some 30. Okay? So there was no ijma' either. So, a Shafi'i is not a prophet, is he? He's not a prophet. So we agree, yeah? He's not a prophet. He's a human being who we do not know. We've never met him. We've never seen him. We don't know nothing. Just books that came to us and then we read them. And this Shafi'i became this great person. But he's not. He has committed the biggest crime against the Quran itself. And I'll tell you how. If you just give me your time. So, this guy woke up one day and he decided to come up with a science called an-nasikh wal-mansukh. So, let's see if he's got authority from the Quran. And go back to the same verse, that guy. But I'm going to use a lot of verses. Okay. The translation is murder, but I'll do my best. 16:101. وإذا بدلنا آية مكان آية والله أعلم بما ينزل قالوا إنما أنت مفتر بل أكثرهم لا يعلمون. When we change a proof with another proof, we replace it with which is the same or better. And God is fully aware of what He reveals. They say, you made this up. Indeed, most of them do not know. So, the verse starts with, when we substitute or change. We. Who's the we? Does it say, is the we God and the Shafi'i? Is the Shafi'i, why is he getting involved in the first place? When God said we, does not include anyone else except him. Doesn't include the Shafi'i, does it? But why is he getting involved? Why is he getting in the middle? Like he's a prophet or he's a God. Because here, only God can change things, not a human being. From there we go to 16:101. No, sorry, 2:106. ما ننسخ من آية أو ننسها نأتي بخير منها أو مثلها ألم تعلم أن الله على كل شيء قدير. Again, when we abrogate any proof or cause it to be forgotten, we produce a better proof or at least an equal one. Do you not recognize the fact that God is omnipotent? So, when we abrogate, the we is God. There's no authority here. He hasn't given anyone authority to mess with it. Okay, go to 10. 15. وإذا تتلى عليهم آياتنا بينات قال الذين لا يرجون لقاءنا ائت بقرآن غير هذا أو بدله قل وما يكون لي أن أبدله من تلقاء نفسي إن يتبع إلا ما يوحى إلي إني أخاف إن عصيت ربي عذاب يوم عظيم. When our revelations are recited to them, those who do not expect to meet us say, bring a Quran other than this one, or change it. Say, I cannot possibly change it on my own. I simply follow what is revealed to me. I fear, if I disobey my Lord, the retribution of an awesome day. You heard that? Even a prophet, they ask him to change it. Change the Quran. They don't like it. They want another one. He said, I can't do that. It's not up to me. So if it's not up to the Prophet, why is it up to the Shafi'i? Ask yourself that question. Unless you want to go against the Quran, and then you lost. And now we go to 8:65. يا أيها النبي حرض المؤمنين على القتال إن يكن منكم 20 صابرون يغلبوا 200 وإن يكن منكم 100 يغلبوا 1000 من الذين كفروا بأنهم قوم لا يفقهون. لا يفقهون. Read that. بأنهم قوم لا يفقهون. This is the key in this verse. This is the key, the end of it. O you Prophet, you shall exhort the believers to fight. If there are 20 of you who are steadfast, they can defeat 200. So the odd is 10-1, yeah? Right. And 100 of you can defeat 1,000 of those who disbelieved. That is because there are people who do not understand. See how the verse ends? These people don't understand. Most Sunnis thinks this, you guys Sunnis, yeah? You think this verse is about fighting. It's about swords and blood and all that. And this is wrong. It's nothing to do with fighting. Because the end of the verse, they said, who do not understand. That means this verse is talking about intelligence, about knowledge. This is to do with debates. This is the believers debate the other side. They have so much knowledge. They have the Quran. They are strong, right? So one of them can beat 10. It's nothing to do with swords. This is not Hollywood. One person can never beat 10 people. Let's face it. Probably 1 in a trillion. But this is not common, yeah? So, here, they're using this verse to prove there is abrogation in the Quran. They're using this verse to prove that God changed his mind. Yeah? Changed his mind. And then, this is not even a legislation anyway. It's nothing to do with the deen, the legislation. So, this is not really anything. This is not a proof. So, God here did not, right, abrogate nothing. Okay? Let's go to the next verse to see better. الآن خفف الله عنكم وعلم أن فيكم ضعفا فإن يكن منكم 100 صابرة يغلب 200 وإن يكن منكم 1000 يغلب 2000 بإذن الله والله مع الصابرين. Now, God has made it easier for you, for He knows that you are not as strong as you used to be. Henceforth, 100 steadfast believers can defeat 200. So The odds went from 10 to 1 to 2 to 1. Yeah? And 1,000 of you can defeat 2,000 by God's leave. God is with those who steadfastly persevere. Persevere. So now here, there's no obligation. They're using this as an excuse to give themselves authority to mess with the Quran. But here has nothing to do with abrogation at all. All it is, this is not legislation. This is not, God is giving you a law here, if you know. If you're strong, today, yesterday, in the future, the odds still be 10 to 1. But if you don't do 10 to 1, if you can only beat 2 people, that means you are weak. So you need to, what you do, you need to catch up. You need to find other ways to get to the strong point. So here, it's not legislation, it's nothing to do with it. It's just God telling you, that's how you know you're strong, and that's how you know you're weak. Yeah? If you can't beat 10 people, that means your knowledge is weak. Your game is weak. You got to pump it up. You got your knowledge pimping. You got, I mean, that's all it is. So it's nothing to do with abrogation at all. Now, the problem is, let's find out what the verse 16. Sorry, it's long, because there's a lot to say. We don't just take half a verse and we stop there and then come up with ideas. No, we just go deeper to see if we can answer this question or not. So, وَإِذَا بَدَّلْنَا آيَةً مَكَانَ آيَةٍ وَاللَّهُ أَعْلَمُ بِمَا يُنَزِّلُ قَالُوا إِنَّمَا أَنْتَ مُفْتَرٍ بَلْ أَكْثَرُهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Why would they say that in the first place? Or why would they see that? Why would he say that? Right? And why would they answer that way? Okay? Why is God telling them we changed proofs with other proofs? And why would they say that back? You're a liar. What? They must have wanted something from the Prophet for him to say that. It has to be, in it, because it's not just random. Now, to prove that, for the Quran to prove it, he will answer you with this verse. Then you have the full picture. Yeah? This is 1790. وقالوا لن نؤمن لك حتى تفجر لنا من الأرض ينبوعا. They said they will not believe you unless you cause a spring to gush out of the ground. أو تكون لك جنة من نخيل وعنب فتفجر الأنهار خلالها تفجيرا. Or unless you own a garden of date, palms and grapes with rivers running through it. أو تسقط السماء كما زعمت علينا كسفا أو تأتي بالله والملائكة قبيلا. Or unless you cause masses from the sky, as you claimed, to fall on us. Or unless you bring God and the angels before our eyes. أو يكون لك بيت من زخرف أو ترقى في السماء ولن نؤمن لرقيك حتى تنزل علينا كتابا نقرأه قل سبحان ربي هل كنت إلا بشرا رسولا. Or unless you own a luxurious mansion, or unless you climb into the sky. Even if you do climb, we will not believe you unless you bring a book that we can read. Say, glory be to my Lord. Am I any more than a human messenger? And then this comes after it. وَمَا مَنَعَ النَّاسَ أَنْ يُؤْمِنُوا إِذْ جَاءَهُمُ الْهُدَى إِلَّا أَنْ قَالُوا أَبَعَثَ اللَّهُ بَشَرًا رَسُولًا. What prevented the people from believing when the guidance came to them is their saying, did God send a human being as a messenger? So these people wanted something from the Prophet. And the Prophet said, I can't do that. Although you Sunnis believe that the Prophet went to see God, Isra wal Mi'raj. This verse here proves that doesn't exist. The answer of the Prophet, messenger, he said, I'm only a human being. I can't give you all what you're asking for. Look, one more verse. Let's go to 17:101 to prove my points. Because the Prophet Muhammad can't give physical proofs. It doesn't have that. He's got the Quran itself, full of proofs. And then, look how God answers. وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا مُوسَى 9 آيَاتٍ بَيِّنَاتٍ فاسأل بني إسرائيل إذ جاءهم فقال له فرعون إني لأظنك يا موسى مسحورا. We supported Moses with 9 proofs. Ask the children of Israel. When he went to them, Pharaoh said to him, I think that you, Moses, are bewitched. So, what I'm getting here is they're asking for physical proofs, and the Prophet said, I can't do that. I'm only human. I don't have that power. I wasn't given that power. I'm only human. I don't fly in the sky. And God is replying to them. Every prophet we sent, his people always didn't believe him. And he gave you the example of the Pharaoh and Moses. He gave him nine proofs, physical proofs, but still didn't believe. See, these people that they argue with you, like, we want to see physical proofs. We want to see physical proofs. I promise you, even if you give them, if they see an angel, they will disbelieve it. If they actually literally see an angel, they will not believe. Because believing is not about just seeing things. It's not about that. It's a feeling. It's something you live. Not something you see with your eyes. Do you know what I mean? That's what believing is. You become peaceful. Peaceful. That's the Quran. Peaceful. Describe the mu'minin as peaceful. Not peaceful as in general with people. No, the inside. They're content. Do you know what I mean? That's what belief gives you. So, here, brothers and sisters, after this, yeah, we can't see any also. This Shafi'i has no authorization to do that. But the biggest thing, the biggest crime is when they started to mess with it properly by abrogating a Quran, verses from the Quran, a proper legislation with hadith. We go to 4:12. God is talking about a will, yeah, when someone dies. At the end of the verse, it says, He gave us how to share the will. And then at the end, all this, so all the list he gave us, all this, after fulfilling any will, and after paying off all debts, so that no one is hurt, this will be decreed by God. God is omniscient, clement. So, this verse talks about if someone dies, this is how to split the inheritance. But all that comes after you read the will, and if he's got any debt, pay off, and it's up to the dead person where the money goes. This is freedom that God gives us. This is our freedom. It's my money. I want to do it. I want to share it because I know my family better. I know my family because It's not in the Quran. Every example has to come, like how you do that. Every cousin, if someone has got money, no, there's no that details. So he's leaving it up to us. He's giving us freedom to judge, because we have brains. Okay, so if my son is rich, or if I die, he gets a part, and I've got 2 or 3 other kids are poor. It's not fair. For him to take anything, to be honest, it's not fair, because he's already rich and his brothers are poor. So I give my money to the poor. I don't give it to the rich. Do you understand what I'm saying? I have the freedom to do that. But you guys, the books, the clerics, the old books, abrogated this verse with the hadith. لا وصية لوارث. And they said, this hadith abrogated this commandment from God. That is terrible. That's idol worship, idolatry here. You letting someone else legislate with God. That is terrible. That is 100% idol worship. That's what idol worship is in the Quran. By accepting other laws with God's laws. And it doesn't just stop there. In the Quran it says, clearly said, Zani was Zaniya fajliduhum mi'ata jalda. I mean, it's the... Alright, let's say it that way. Alright, let's keep it as Zani was Zaniya, yeah? Zani was Zaniya, give him 100 lashes. Okay? But there is a hadith, it's not even about the Prophet, it's about Umar ibn Khattab, saying that the Prophet used to stone the Zani was Zaniya. And then what happened? That verse, he said there is actually a verse from the Quran, a proof from the Quran that is not in the Quran. Can you imagine that? Can you think about it, that the Quran is not full? It's got missing, right? So God said the Quran is full, and this, not even hadith about the Prophet, attributed to Umar ibn Khattab, that he said that about the Prophet, that you abrogate a verse from. And then that verse, this stoning verse, so-called, I spoke about it before, it was eaten by a sheep. I don't know. It's up to you. It's up to you. But if you have a brain, you really think this is ridiculous. It can't be the truth. But this is not me saying it. This is in your books. This is in the old books, all the hadith books. This is real, for real. Why do you think the Taliban stone women? Why? Because they use the hadith, not the lashes. Should be lashes, not stoning to death. Guys, you don't stone people to death. God will never ask you to kill anyone for him. Never, except to defend yourself. You can. Not meaning to kill, to stop. And then if you say, all right, stoning, all right, I'll carry on. I agree with you, stoning, yeah? So if a Muslim woman, all right, a free Muslim woman commit a sin, you stone her to death. But the problem is, Mulkul Yamin, remember the video about the Mulkul Yamin? When Mulkul Yamin gets married gets married, right? She's a free woman. But if she commits the same sin, she gets half the punishment. So what is half a punishment of stoning to death? Please answer me. How do you stone someone half to death? How do you measure it? Do you beat up the left right until it's, I don't know, disabled, and leave the I don't know, first half, the top half, bottom half? How do you do that? See, that's what the Quran does. Whatever you're trying to put something there, he will just show you off, basically. That's what the Quran does. You can't put things in the Quran, man. You can't put your ideas into the Quran. You can't explain it how you want. The Quran explains itself. There's no abrogation. No one messes with the Quran, man. No one messes with the Quran, brothers. Anyway, that's all I got to say. Okay? And think. It's better to think when you're still alive, because when you die, you can't think anymore. Okay? Peace out.